Committee meeting to order. Village Clerk, please call roll.
Burgess.
Here.
Gordon.
Here.
Myers.
Here.
Poskett.
Here.
Washington. Here. Williams. Here.
All right, to the first item, Intercom Solutions. Carlos here yet? If you want to give anything, or you want to put this off until later, to see if she shows?
You want to put up?
Move to item number 3, South Florida Mayor's Association and Surface Transportation Program, local insurance resolution.
Can't hear you.
Testing 1, 2, 3. All right. All the trustees should have resolutions. Anyone have any questions? We want South Florida Mayor's managers to help the village and give us more money to go toward the resurfacing of the Route 394 South Florida roads. Do you have any questions? Anyone want to keep this one? No one has any problems with the consent agenda for this item next week? Item number 4, ordinance amending section 1829 fee schedule for the village code. This is the ordinance before you. Remember the health department, they raised their fees for doing their inspections. So as a village, we raise our fees accordingly so that the businesses or others having inspections are paying the full amount. Do you have any questions on this one? There's $100, which was the new fee schedule for the county health department. Next.
Mike.
Okay, we changed the fees from 60 to 100 for the follow-up. Do they all stay, we have them all staying the same for the follow-up inspections? Or is
Yes.
the county's not, doesn't charge us any answer for that?
No, our fire department does inspections.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, if there is none, I'll ask you to put aside the consent agenda. I'm not keeping going on. Because I did it every so often. All right, and number 5, ordinance pertaining to prohibiting political activity. So trustees have the ordinance. Trustee Myers, you want to talk on this? Yeah, yeah, Mike.
The ordinance committee met on the first proposal, and we looked at it and we made some recommendation. And these couple of things that we wanted we wanted some area name, we wanted to know how far the limitation was, and we wanted to make sure that it did not interfere with anybody's rights, so forth. But in the process, we did find there's a couple of things that in the past we all believed, and there's actually no standard under the Illinois revised statute for it. So we asked the village attorney to go in and review it and see what we can come up with for the, at 3:30 this afternoon, I received, or will receive the revised statute. So I haven't yet had time to take a look at it. I just received it. All the trustees should have got it in their package. The new one. Yes. If it says the ordinance amendment section 2, that's 452 for political activity. Everybody should have got that. Now, once again, yeah, it's in your box. And the clerk said we should put one in everybody's box. Again, there's a couple things in here. I haven't had a total time to review it, but there's I think it's pretty fair. It doesn't stop the school board from getting signatures on our property. It doesn't stop us from getting signatures on some of their property. There's some other things here that, once again, I don't want to go on without actually reading the entire thing in depth. And I did receive it tonight as I came in. I would like for the trustees to take the ordinance and we can discuss it tonight at that point. But again, they're not going to get my honest opinion, so I'll really take a couple minutes to really go through this and do it. And I wouldn't expect you guys to give me your honest opinion on anything without taking a look at it too. Do we need something out there? I don't know. I know over the years it was only hearsay, evidently. And you call one representative and he says, no, it's always been you couldn't. Then you call the state's attorney, well, I'm not sure. And you call the attorney general. Well, it's been like that for years, but then it looks and Lord behold, there's really nothing in it. State statute. I read state statute twice myself, and it doesn't cover it. So this is the reason this all brought about this. And I had to apologize. I was out of town and at a conference, and when I got called on this, and I really couldn't do anything 180 miles away. So. But there, I asked the attorney to look into it and check with the state's attorney general, and get us something out of that, and get back to me. But all of the things that we requested is in here, and we requested that we definitely not try anybody. We just need a distance from the building. We need a distance. Is it the curb, or is it the public sidewalk, is it the building sidewalk, or the driveway, whatever. We just need to spell it out black and white. And by doing that, I think everybody would be on board. So once again, we could talk about it, but I'm not going to give a total, this ordinance I just received tonight when I walked in the door at 6:15. With that, I apologize, Mr. Mayor, but that's about all I can do tonight. I recommend that everybody take a chance to look at it. So that if whatever we do with this, it's going to follow from the town all the way through. So encourage each trustee to take a good, solid look at it and decide what we're going to do with it. If you don't like it, we'll send it back to them, get reworded until we get something where everybody in the village can live with it. It just don't even interact with people unless you got in front of you. It's not a word, so we will have it.
Do you have any questions, comments?
Yes, I have a couple. First of all, I'd like to know why do we need an ordinance, something like this? I mean, it's always been past practice that we didn't do electioneering inside the rotunda, except for there was one time when there was people circulating petitions trying to unseat the mayor before. That was actually happened here, and I saw petitions inside the rotunda. But outside of that, we have political forums every election. They're in here. That's the same. That's electioneering, but it's okay then. If you're going to make this cut and dry, you can't say, okay, well today we're not going to do any political electioneering, but tomorrow we're going to have a forum and bring all the candidates, which quite naturally we're going to be passing out literature and things like that. So I'm just wondering why we even need to have an ordinance. And secondly, what is the penalty? You catch a person electioneering, what are you going to do? I mean, I'm sure we're not going to sit up and try to arrest or propose a fine for that person that's doing that. It's always been that we see someone wearing a button inside the meeting place of the village, we would ask them to remove that.
Well,
Pardon me? Well, we asked them to remove it because there was a couple that actually had it on, and we asked them to take it off. But-
The answer to your first one, why all these years I've been along what was out there too, same as you and everybody else. And I guess evidently there was a situation that happened, which I had no idea what it was or what it was.
Well, the situation that happened, there was petitions signed in the hallway. And, you know, signing petitions in the hallway, I never, thought that was gonna be a problem. I know years ago when we met across the parking lot, I'm sure, I know I did, ask people to sign my petition before a meeting in the hallway right there at the police station, right there in that hallway, back in 2006 and 2009 and 2000, before this place was built. Now, to break as many things that we got going on in the village financially, to have an ordinance prohibiting someone to do something that we should, as residents, as grown people, can adhere to. Usually, as I stated, it's usually not inside the rotunda, which means in the meeting place. But outside, I've seen it happen in the front doors, in the hallways, and things like that, and never thought about it. Another thing that we should, if we're going to do something like that, right now we have signs in areas where we're not supposed to have signs, and they're not even our signs. They're signs from other elected officials running for state office, and they're in areas that we cannot even put our own signs in. We cannot put our own signs in certain areas. We have to put our signs in the residential area, not on the public right of way. But I see signs there. So, I mean, if we're going to make an ordinance for something like this, first of all, we need to make sure we include all. And second of all, we need to know, if someone breaks the ordinance, what's the penalty?
Let me clarify one thing in your statement. We're not gonna make ordinance in case of this board here approves majority vote.
Okay.
Right, now, everything goes up front of the board, you need a motion in a second. And then we never take the vote.
Okay. I just
One, and
expressing
then
that, right.
the other one, thank you for explaining your situation, I didn't know all that now. And the other one is, you're right, you're 100% correct, is that, yep, we do make the ordinance, then yes, state, representative, governor, all the way down the line, is going to have to abide by what we come out with. And in my personal opinion, I'll probably get hung for this. Do we really want to key off the governor of the state of Illinois, or senator, or congressman, or state reps, and everything? These people out there are helping us to. So whatever we do, we got to look at it real close. That's really not urge everybody to take a good look at it.
Trustee.
Microphone.
Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so the way I look at it is that I remember 2005, and I remember in past elections after that, we couldn't get signatures anywhere in the village buildings. That's how I remember it. That's what I was told.
Yeah.
If that's not what is on the papers, that's what the past practice was. So to say that we're going to make an ordinance about it, I think an ordinance is important. Whether it says we can or whether it says that we can't. Something needs to be put in writing, because if we are telling people that we can't do it, then we need to have something to back that up. So I do think it's important that we do it. I also think that it's important that we don't have the petition signed in the village buildings, whether that's the police department, the fire department, the village hall, the community center, anywhere. But I think Trustee Burgess brings a good point about the forums. I think that needs to be put into the ordinance to allow for that. Because during the forums, that's when every person who's running for a village office is asked to participate. They can choose not to, but they're asked to participate at that time. And it has always been an opportunity for them to come in, bring their signs, and be able to kind of promote themselves. The entire forum is basically electioneering. All you're doing is promoting yourself. That's what a forum does. You answer the questions how you would handle situations. The difference is you don't sign petitions at a forum. The petitions are already turned in. So the petitions versus the forum and the objects are different. And as I remember from the last forum, the tables were set up outside. You could have a table, you could have your information, your pamphlets, your signs, whatever, but nothing was brought into here. That needs to be clearly identified. Whatever, like Trustee Meyer said, it's a majority vote, whatever the decision is. I don't see that there's a problem with it though. I don't think that business like that, any type of campaigning, any type of signatures, anything like that should happen in village buildings. That's my personal opinion. Everybody on this board who's made it up here has walked the streets of Sauk Village. We've gotten signatures, we've passed out flyers. It's not something new. Anybody who's going to be running for an office, that's kind of what you have to do. I think there's ample opportunity in the amount of days and the amount of locations where you can obtain signatures that you don't need to do it in village buildings. However, last point, as far as the signs, again, that Trustee Burgess brought up, I have seen those. I do think they're a problem, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with notifying our senators, our congresspeople, our governor, our president, whoever else, of our ordinances. I don't think it's fair if we're saying that if I'm running for trustee, I can't put my sign someplace, but somebody who is running for our state office can put their sign there. I don't think it's fair. And all of those people have local offices. All of those people have local representatives. I'm not saying, I mean, obviously, Obama, because of term limits, is not going to be run, but I'm not saying we write a letter to Obama and say, hey, move your sign. I'm saying that we contact Democratic Society, who's working this portion of it, that you cannot put your signs here. It's a piece of paper. You know, and that's it. I think that Trustee Burgess brought up some good points. I think that there needs to be some parameters. Can we? Where are the locations? And what is the fine? I know that the ordinance says they'll be asked to leave the premises. Okay, first strike, leave the premises. You know, is that going to be the only strike? Do we need to escalate that? Those are the things that I would like to see kind of discussed. But I think regardless of what it is, it needs to be an all or nothing. So there's no questions because it's muddy right now. Before it was just kind of, hey, you can't do that. And some people didn't question it. I didn't question it. I mean, I got all my signatures in a weekend my first time, so I wasn't at Village Hall. But for people who have, if I tried to do it, I would have been told not to. I wouldn't have questioned it. I don't think at 22, I would have said, hey, where is that in the ordinance? Or, hey, where can I have that in writing? I didn't know. So some people are not going to ask that. So I think it just needs to be able to, we can present it, this is it. And I don't think that it's a bad idea to have it on the website, whatever the result is. Have it on the website, have it as a reminder to people who are running, because I know that there may be some people who are here tonight. I know there are definitely some people who are here tonight that are running, and there may be some people that in the audience that are running, or know some people who are running. So it just, all of this information needs to just kind of be disseminated so there's no questions.
Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to bring to your attention, Trustee, you do understand that the ordinance says no leaflets.
It says no leaflets. It's not just signatures. So, as I stated before, you cannot do a little bit. If you're going to have the form, we pass out leaflets. So it's okay to break the ordinance for that particular time, but you can't break it up until that time. I mean, if you want to pass out literature about yourself or whoever happens to be running, you cannot do it only at that one time when we have a form. And I think that alone by itself is hypocritical. If we're going to not let anyone pass out any type of leaflets, then we cannot have a forum here. I understand what you're saying, that it is to inform the people, but if we pass an ordinance and then language in this ordinance says may not engage in collecting signatures or distribute leaflets inside municipal buildings. If that language is going to be there, then it has to be all the time. We can't do it for some time and then sometime, because now we're not following what we should be doing. So either we can have it stay the way it is and not worry about an ordinance, or if you pass this ordinance, then we cannot have a forum.
Well, I think the ordinance, is created by our suggestions. We have the ability to alter the verbiage in the ordinance. So if we think that there needs to be an exception for a forum, I think that, like I said, that needs to be in the ordinance. That the opportunity for leaflets to be passed out is prohibited in the village buildings with the exception of a forum, something like that. Or the opposite of that is to not have that. We can still have a forum without leaflets. You would be able to talk.
But you still electioneering.
You still electioneering. When you talking about yourself or for yourself,
I don't disagree.
you're still electioneering.
That's why the clause needs to be put in the ordinance. There's clauses to ordinances and laws, and there are exceptions to everything. That's why the verbiage needs to be put in there. That's why I said, I thought you brought up a good point, but if this is going to be passed, or this is something that's going to be prohibited, the forums need to be put in there, because I do think that the forums are a good idea. Citizens who don't have the opportunity to kind of, now that we've got campaign offices, which we didn't have in the past, but there are many citizens that don't get the opportunity to go to all of the different locations and meet all the candidates. In this case, the forums are present. They're able to kind of see what everybody thinks. I think that that's not something that should end, but I think that also there shouldn't be any electioneering. So I don't see why there's a difficulty with adding that exception.
It looks like we're trying to add it for our benefit. If you tell someone that they can only go 60 miles an hour, but it's okay to go 65 on this day and this day only. What type of, like I said before, I don't think we need an ordinance. I think we can police ourselves and ask anyone that's running for office not to distribute literature inside of the rotunda or the meeting place of the village, which this would be the rotunda. That's what has been happening in the past. But to have such, I don't think we need an ordinance to police the people that are trying to run for office. We all ran for office. And now all of a sudden we're coming up with an ordinance prohibiting people from, doing whatever that was being done in the past. My question is, why now? Now, if they were doing it in here, board meeting and things like that, I can understand that, because this is not a time or place. But if you're outside in front or you're in the hallway, me myself personally, I don't see a problem with it, but I'm one vote, and like I said before, I didn't see a problem. I didn't see why we needed an ordinance on something like that.
Trustee Washington.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to ask a couple of questions. This ordinance, was this just put together recently, or was this something that was in the archives that you all had pulled up, or this was just done?
Okay. It was put out there to look into the, if or not, if we needed another format or ordinance or anything because there was foresight that it was not in the statutes. And I personally always thought it was, because I was always told that we didn't do it. So then there was a situation that happened, as Trustee Burgess explained it, and now they asked for a ordinance to be looked into. Do we need one? That's for the board and the mayor to decide if we need one. Do we need something other to spell out what's going to be accepted? Yes, we do. Whether it's all of us saying, sign our name to that, David, that we can do all that, but we do need something other. Whatever we do, it's going to carry on from here on. So it's up to this board to decide, but I would like input from all the trustees tonight, though.
I don't know if I got my answer, trustee. I'm asking one question. Was this already in place, or was this just Was this already in place, this ordinance for politics? You just put this together this week
That just came together this week.
based on what happened?
Over the last 2 weeks.
Okay.
We had about 3 weeks ago, and this is the final draft.
Excuse me, I have allergies. Nevertheless, I want to concur with Trustee Burgess. I just don't feel that, you know, we need an ordinance in place to spell out where people can get signatures other than in the rotunda. It's just, to me, one vote, like people say. But we had our yard signs out there in the foyer. We had our own tables out there. We said people take yard signs. I mean, if people are inside of this area circulating petitions or getting signatures or displaying cap buttons or anything that's political, we should ask them to remove it or cover it up with a jacket. They have buttons all over their shirt or on their shirt, writing their picture. They running for something, they can put a jacket over it in here. But I don't, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we own the sidewalk. I don't think we can tell people what to do on the sidewalk. And also, when people come out of the schools, everybody is waiting for election day as registered voters are coming out. They're going to be asking them to sign their petitions. What if the schools say they don't want us on their property? What if they say they don't want us over there in their parking lot? They want us 40 feet away. I mean, here at the village, who's going to measure 40 feet from every entrance and from the exits? Who's going to be out there measuring and watching people doing it? Who's going to police it and patrol it or monitor it? I just believe that people can be mature enough that if you let them know the parameters of where they can and cannot be, they'll follow that. And if they don't, you know, then we want to ask them, you know, sincerely, could you please not circulate in here? Like we tell people, turn their cell phones off. If people's phones still ring, you don't go call the police station or the police come take their cell phones from them. All we can do is ask. But to really make an ordinance where it is all like the law, where people cannot petition or pass out their leaflets or get petitions or wear political buttons and badges or leaflets outside of the rotunda, I just think that this has been past practice, and I know it has because we've all done it. I just think we should actually leave it alone because we all have ran, we all are going to be running again, and whatever we set in place today is going to be forever. So, with all that said, I just think that if it's been past practice that people can't get petitions signed in this rotunda, I don't know about the police station and the fire department. Who's going to be monitoring all of that? If they're on the grounds 40 feet from the fire department's front door or the exits where the fire trucks come from, who's going to watch that from now until election day, 24 hours a day? It's going to be shifts, people going to work, people trying to get petitions signed. I think it's a lot. Thank you.
Okay. Just to kind of counteract some of the things that I've heard, I think part of the issue is kind of like I said before, so it's in writing. You know, we think that people are going to honor the suggestions or honor the practices or honor what has happened in the past. I think if anything that I've learned since 2009 is that that's not always the case. And you've got people who have decided that this is how they're going to run for office. And there was lots of infighting, lots of outfighting, lots of problems. You know, 2005, my signs got swastikas put on them, and I had to, it was a hate crime. And that was my first time running, so I don't even know what possessed me to run in 2009 and 2013. I don't know what happened there, but 2005, that was the hate crime. There was, I'm sure that there's a suggestion about that. I'm sure that that's probably not a good idea if the FBI came in and had to talk to me about that. And then you flash forward to 2009. In 2009, you had situations where the same thing happened. You had these suggestions, what has happened in the past. That's it. We didn't have slates, we didn't have campaign offices, you had all these different things. I think that running for office in little old Sauk Village has become so much bigger than what anybody ever thought it was before 2005. So there are, which is good because you're getting diversity, you're getting new people, you're getting fresh blood. I think that's a good thing. But the people who are running are not the same people that was kind of pushed off. Well, I won't run this year, you can run this year, and the next year I'll run. That's what it was like before. It was the same people who've been in here for 500 years taking office. You've got new people. The new people don't know the rules, don't know the suggestions, may not be as apt to honor those suggestions. So ultimately, whether we choose to allow it or to prohibit it, something needs to be in writing. And I don't see what the problem with that is, because when it's in writing, you can't change it. There's no fighting it, there's no arguing it. Black and white, that's it. And honestly, I don't care which direction it goes. I know how it was in the past, I know what I've done in the past, and I don't see that there's a problem with putting a clause in. We put clauses in all the time. Trustee Burgess talked about the speeding limit. Well, you know what? I don't see the cops getting a ticket when they're going over 80 miles an hour to catch somebody. There's a clause for that. There's a reason for that. Just like with this tape of the form, there's a reason for that. As long as it's in black and white, you can't fight that. Now, I'm not an attorney. I would suggest going through the attorneys with that clause for the forms, but I think that we have the ability to write this how we want it to be. That's what we're doing right now, kind of figuring that out. But ultimately, no matter what the decision is, I think there needs to be an ordinance. So that we don't have to have this conversation, because we had this conversation in 2011, we had this conversation in 2012, we had this conversation multiple times, and we got kind of caught up in other things, and then it was never put in black and white.
All right, I think we've had some good discussion here, and what I'm gonna ask, first of all, is that we put this off for 2 weeks. That you have some time to absorb, take a look at it, see if there's any changes you want made to this, make sure you get the information to Trustee Myers, through the Ordinance Review Committee. I've heard things tonight that concerns me, okay, I'll be honest with you, because I've heard the word past practices. Okay, so we have a past practice where people have been told to remove their buttons or cover their buttons, not to have signatures inside this room. However, we have no ordinance to enforce it. Who has the power to tell someone they can't do that without the ordinance? But everyone wants to say, we'll pick this room and say you can't do it. How are you going to enforce it if you don't have an ordinance? I've heard that people have been told to remove stuff or been asked to remove stuff. I have heard that they've been told not to have petitions signed in here. And it kind of scares me that, especially someone can sit on this board, can use their power to go and tell someone they can't do it because they don't want it done. And they have no ordinance to fall back on. But we have no problem talking about it here, saying this what has been done. That concerns me. It concerns me that there's people on this board that don't want something in place. I mean, I don't care if something's in place or not, but I'll tell you what. If there's nothing in place, I don't care if we have past practices or not. They stop. And everyone can be free to do whatever they want to anywhere inside this building or any municipal building. Because you have nothing and you have no ground to stand on if you don't have an ordinance in place. Now, I've heard we police ourselves. That's really scary. To say we police ourselves. Well, who's policing us? Who are we to be able to go tell someone what they can do and what they can't do without an ordinance? Our job as elected officials are to enforce the ordinances. Not to come up and make up our own laws and rules and try to put it on residents. So, policing ourselves, I'll tell you what, you don't police yourself if you have no ordinance. No ordinance, no policing yourself. I've heard that, we prohibit people from doing things. Again, what gives you the right? If you don't have something in writing to follow, you have no right to prohibit anyone from doing anything. Because the people sitting out there are the ones that elected us. That's what you should remember. So, I would say take this ordinance home. Again, like the trustee said, it's a first draft. There's things that you're going to come up with. I mean, I've heard some good conversations about we have forms in here. You're right, we do have forms in here. But there's things that can be put inside the ordinance that says that forms that are approved through the board, we can have those forms on certain dates. Things that come before the board that's voted on. Again, however it wants to be worded. I mean, there's things to consider. Because, I think the forms are good for the residents. It's time for the residents to come to hear all the candidates. I don't want to see that in because of the ordinance. There has to be something, and I agree, there has to be something in this ordinance that makes it where we can still have those forms, those debates. I'm in favor of it, but I'm telling you right now that I don't care what past practices are now or what they were. No one on this board has a right to enforce anything that was past practices until there's an ordinance in place. So, I mean, people sitting in the audience there, you can go out there and tell them all you want. You can't get signatures in this rotunda. I'll tell you what I'd tell you. Drop dead. Show me an ordinance. And if there's not, you know, go pound sand. You know, so, you know, this board can make a decision on what you want to do. You're the ones going to be voting on it. But if you want something enforced, there's an ordinance that has to be in place. If there's no ordinance, you've got nothing to enforce, and you can't police yourself. So, I would say in 2 weeks we put this back on the agenda and then get with the trustee.
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee.
in regards to what you just stated as far as we need an ordinance, there's no ordinance that says people cannot talk among themselves when they sit here at a board meeting, but they don't, because of past practice, because of, that we have the courtesy not to do that. This is what I'm asking about, the same ordinance. Now, you stated that, that a person we have to have some meeting to ask them not to do something. We ask them to cut their phones off. As Trustee Washington stated, there's no ordinance that they have to cut them off or they have to put them on vibrate. That's a courtesy that we ask them to do that, and most people are mature enough to follow that. That's what I'm talking about as far as an ordinance. If we ask a person not to do something, I'm hoping that they're mature enough not to do it. But it seems to me like we're sanctioning someone. We're actually trying to sanction for whatever reason. However, we sanction up to a point. Then if it's self-serving, where if you have a form, which a form is self-serving, then we won't have, then we don't enact ordinance at that time. That's something that I have a problem with. If we're not going to be able to do it, then we don't do it at any time. But to say a municipality is going to put forth an ordinance that says that we cannot do any leaflet passing out, electioneering, at any time in a municipal building, any time means any time, not just for the convenience. If a person happens to be running, then it's okay, they can come out and they can be part of the forum. If it states that, if that stays in there like that, or if we have a exception to the rule, I'm against having an exception to the rule, because now it's not for everybody, it's only for those at that particular time, up until that time, and then we can have electioneering at this particular point. If we're not going to have electioneering in this building, then we're not going to have electioneering in this building. I mean, if and like I said before, you're saying that we've asked people. We've had a lot of things we've had people stand up in front of other people and have people to actually have, we have a mayor to ask the person to leave and get up and I mean, we had a lot of things that happened in the course of the time I've been trustee. But now we're gonna bring this type of ordinance or bring it about now at this particular point in time. I think it's absurd. I really do. Yes, we've had parties. The very first party that ran, that we ever had a party, was in 2009. From then on, yes, there were parties, but before that, just people were running themselves. They may have got together, but they weren't a party. They had an organized party back in 2009. There was nothing. We didn't have any problems. We didn't have any problems at any time. This one particular incident that happened at this particular time was dealt with. We was asked not to do it. They didn't do it anymore. And that's all I'm saying. But to have something like that, to make an ordinance on something this minute and this petty is, I mean, we got a lot of fish to fry as far as trying to bring this village to a whole. Electioneering is not one of them.
I said tonight, I've heard some great signs. And again, this is what the board will not pass it. But you continue to bring up a point. What gives you the authority to tell someone not to do something or ask them not to do something? What makes you think you have the authority, number one, to do that? And what gives you authority?
You don't have the authority. It's courtesy. It's just courtesy.
So again, I think we should let this off for a couple of weeks, really. And give us some time to think about it, read through it. I think there's some good points in this. And again, I'm not saying that everything's good. I skimmed through it. And it makes it where the municipality is not liable. Look at some of those points in there. that we're not liable for electioneering and things like that. So, take a look at it, but again, to say you don't want exceptions in any ordinance, I think you better go back and look at some of the ordinances we have, but there's always exceptions in a lot of the ordinances that make exceptions. So, just need to be careful how you say that. So, all right. Justin Moore?
Just a couple of things. One thing I'd like to see, if possible, if other municipalities, other municipalities in the South Suburban area have adopted an ordinance like this. One, I'd like to see that and see what they have to say. One, I want to make sure that we don't infringe on anybody's rights. People out in the audience that are running for public office, residents are running for public office, they, from what I understand, they actually are a little bit different because we actually are mandated by the ethics ordinance right here. Now, as elected officials, we are mandated. That we have rules that we have to follow, those employees have to follow. So everybody up on this desk has to follow this. Okay? What I'm understanding is what they're trying to put this into place, saying what people that are going to be running for public office. From what I understand, for many years, it's just what a gentleman's agreement, what you can and cannot do. And a lot of people have always respected that. And basically that's about it. But I do concur with the mayor, or if we're going to do something like this, I want to make sure by the attorneys we're not infringing on anybody's right. That's the most important thing. That's all I have.
One last comment, Mayor, thank you. I just wanted to say, we've gone outside and it's been campaign literature all over our cars. They blitzed the whole parking lot. How are you going to monitor and watch all of that? I'm just saying rhetorically. I just feel that it's a lot of emphasis being put on this ordinance. I think it's too detailed. I think it's too intense. I think it should, if it's going to be something, I think it should be a lot less. It's too detailed. I'm not going to say for something that's so minute, it's small to deal with, because elections only happen twice a year, every 4 years. But
Every 2 years.
Every 2 years. It's just a lot. Can't pass out no legal. That means like all these representatives, they can't have their election stuff in here. They can't have nobody outside. I've gone outside and these same representatives stuff all over everybody's house. Come to volunteer, make phone calls, do phone banking, from Robin Kelly, the congresswoman, to whoever. So they all need to know, don't bring none of their stuff over here. Because we have ordinance, don't put it on our cars, stay 40 feet away. I mean, it just gets too detailed and too sticky. And I think it's going to make some bad relationships with people that don't mind coming here, giving water and bringing millions of dollars in funding. But they were able to do something like send a party over here to pass out to the residents that can put them back in office. They have to have all these guidelines that, quote unquote, I don't know who's going to really monitor it to make sure that it happens. The part that Trustee Burgess said, put up ordinance in place like this, and somebody do it, what are you going to do? Arrest them or give them a fine? If they don't pay the fine, what you going to do? Take them to collections and make them pay it? I just think it's a lot. It's just really expensive to me, and that's just my opinion, and I'm done.
I think it should be interesting in 2 weeks. We'll be back on the agenda in 2 weeks. But just so everyone realizes, as of right now, there's no ordinances, there's no past practices. People can do whatever they want. And it should be interesting this election year. It should be interesting in 2 years. So, all right, especially if the ordinance is
Can I just
passed.
make one more suggestion? I mean, because, I'm not up for election in April, so, it doesn't bother me either way, but, I think if it's this hot button of an issue, and I think people are focused on the timing of it, because I think that certain people are worried about, because they're the ones participating in it, they don't want change. You can put it off till after April as far as I'm concerned. The problem is that we've seen how with every election, the water has gotten a little bit more cloudy. People have tried new things. They've asserted new things. We didn't have to worry about social media and sign destruction and cute little graphics with people's names coming out of toilets. We didn't have to worry about these things in 2005. Every 2 years, things get a little bit more muddy. I'm just saying, if it's on paper, you can't fight it. It is what it is. And if it's going to be, we can throw leaflets from the ceiling. If that's what we choose we're going to have, put it in black and white. Because I guarantee you, if somebody who moved away from Sauk Village 10 years ago, who was active in Sauk Village and knew the answer, came came back and decided they were going to not even run, but sit in a board meeting, and me, I'm a new person running for trustee, and I go get it, they're gonna say, you can't do that, that's what it was before, blah, blah, blah. You can go back and you can say, hey, there's this ordinance. And I really don't think it's that difficult to reach out to our state representatives. We can reach out to them when we want to check. We can call them and we can say, hey, we want to check. We know who to come to then. I'm sure we can figure out who to sign a piece of paper and say, hey, don't put your signs here, don't pass out your leaflets. Honestly, because like I said, I'm not running in April, so I got another 900 something days, and then it'll be time, not counting. So I'm just saying, you've got, it's something that needs to happen, regardless of what it happened. It should have happened in 11, it should have happened in 12. We're back in 14 now, let's not make the same mistake.
And again, it's something that comes up when people think about it, and people are thinking about it now because questions have been raised, so. Well, all right, move to item number 6, public comment. All questions, comments, restricted. Hang on. First of all, I need to find out, did Carol show up? Carla, I'm sorry, is Carla here? Do you have all the information?
I have the information.
Let's see if we can get her. So let's table this for 2 weeks, because I'd rather have the board have all the information. All right, so we'll put it back on in 2 weeks, and you can reach out to her and see if she can come out for that. All right. All right, questions, comments restricted. The mayor or speaker may give them 3 minutes to comment on topics of their choice. Each speaker will be allowed 1 opportunity to speak. If you would, please give your name and address for the record.
Thank you, Rose Langston, Sauk Village. I just want to announce that Leisure Timers is going to have a Halloween party at 2 o'clock tomorrow. And also to remind all that we have our open senior activities this coming Friday from 12 to 4. And then every Tuesday we've started the Silver Sneaker at 10 a.m. in the Senior Center. Now come to the point on number 5. Since I've been involved with the forum is not any particular person. It's for all candidates. We do not support any particular candidate. It's open. There is no favoritism paid to anyone. There are rules and regulations, letters sent out to the candidates telling them what they could and could not. Even though we have a letter telling them that they are not to bring any buttons or anything, campaign things, we have had these new candidates coming in with campaign buttons on. We've had to approach them to remind them. The letter stated no campaign information. You do need something in black and white. And I do believe that you should make an exception for the forum since we are not supporting any particular candidate. We have made a statement that they could put campaign literature outside in the hallway, and they had to be removed, otherwise they are all destroyed immediately after the meeting. So I can't see any favoritism, and it is only fair, as I heard somebody say that there are a lot of people that are not familiar with the candidates. They do like to see the literature, so I see nothing wrong with it. We don't allow campaign literature in the senior center at all. If anything is left, it's all thrown away. So I just believe that we should have something in writing because we have a lot of new people running, have no idea what goes on. Even the letter to the candidates state things, they don't even follow the rules. So if you have an ordinance, it should be enforced. Thank you.
Larry Stewart, 1655 2 16th Street. Mr. Mayor, all these questions are directed at you on topics of their choice. Mr. Mayor, I didn't quite understand something when Trustee Burgess was mentioned with the violation of the Open Meeting Act. I heard his name, but I didn't hear the other trustees or public officials that were there. I would like to know the names, if you can give me those in this open meeting, of who was there in that violation. And the other issue is, I'd like you to give me the number to City Hall, and if I can call them right now, Sir? City Hall. Can I call City Hall? So you can hear? So, it's just a question. That's been a long time plan. People have talked it over with each other and don't come on Wednesday. That's a rest day here, I believe. If somebody can look into that, those issues that you all talk about at length are deep discussions. I really appreciate that. But a phone call where a woman stood outside saying that she couldn't pay her bill because City Hall closed on Wednesday. Think about how many Wednesdays since this recording's been out there that it goes on. That people, you heard the conference?
I just called today and I got that we're open Monday through Friday. So I'm not sure where.
You just heard it. Did
I
you
just
not?
heard it.
Call it on your phone. Maybe my phone gets a different City Hall. You know, maybe it's a different City Hall. But this has been going on. She was outside. I don't know who saw it. But she couldn't. She asked the question: is City Hall open on Wednesday? Yes, it is. But she called. See, and this is what they're getting. So everybody can check their phones and see if City Hall open on Wednesdays. Okay? And I love the way you all discuss real important issues. Thank you.
All right. You talked about the Open Meeting Act violation. Came from the state attorney's office, right? And it was 4 meetings that Trustee Burgess had for his town hall meetings. So they've requested information, so we have to provide the information that they requested. So, yeah.
Can I speak, Mr. Mayor, since it was me? The reason why I got to the state's attorney's office because it was filed by the village clerk. And it was filed by her with the auspices of the trustee. This is what I was told from the village clerk. Trustee Washington wanted a question and answer, why am I able to have town hall meetings and she's not, or whatever. And as I explained to the village clerk, town hall meetings are what they are. They're not meetings. If we had trustees there actually discussing business amongst one another, in other words, if one trustee got up and another trustee got up, and we were actually engaging in business of the village, yes, that would be a violation. But at that meeting, all except for the last one, the mayor was there. I was there, a couple of meetings, Trustee Myers was there, and a couple of meetings, Trustee Washington was there. But at no time, and this is why I asked, at no time did we discuss any business. Now the reason why I took it out of Village Hall is not because it was a political meeting, it's because people felt more comfortable talking elsewhere, and that's why I was there. But it was not any political, and that's what I can't understand, what was the reason behind that. And I read the letter, but my whole problem with everything is I did not know this letter was filed until last Tuesday, when the lawyer gave me the copy at the village board meeting. This was filed back in July. Why I wasn't told or not even given the opportunity to even respond to anything until, and I haven't. And I got a letter from the Attorney General's office stating that, you know, we had a Open Meeting Act violation, which I really don't understand how that could be, because it was well publicized. I had leaflets out. I even announced it here at the village board meeting that I was having a town hall meeting. So how can you make it a violation only if we were discussing village business? No, people were asking questions about things that are going on in the village, and I was trying to answer what I could, and what I couldn't answer, I told them I would get back with it. That's what the town hall meeting was. The mayor was there. I'm sure if I was violating a ordinance or violating anything with Open Meetings Act, I'm sure between July in October, the mayor would have said, hey, why would he keep coming to the meeting if he knew it was in violation? That's what I couldn't understand, but, you know, why I didn't get informed, I don't know. So that's the answer to your question. I don't understand. I did ask the village clerk why she couldn't tell me, and she basically said she was going because one of the trustees asked for a ruling and she didn't have a ruling and she wanted to find out. Fine, but we're all supposed to, I thought we were all supposed to work together.
I think Anthony made clear that it's up to the state attorney's office, it's up to the PAC to decide if, number one, it fell under Open Meeting Act, and it's up to them to inform us what was violated, if anything. So, again, it's not, and it's, I guess you would say, we will work with the state attorney's office, provide whatever information we have, and then they can make a decision on if it's in violation or not. So,
Can I ask you a question, Mayor? Were you informed that this letter was going out? Were you informed?
I received the letter Tuesday night.
No, I'm talking, were you informed? Your clerk?
Were you informed that the clerk sent such a letter to the state's attorney? Were you informed back in July when this letter was formulated?
I know there was a question asked.
But you don't know, in other words, you don't know if
I can tell you that I know a question was asked if it's in violation of the Open Meeting Act. Just like I know that I reached out to the state attorney's office when I was having my meet the mayor in the park to find out if it was something that I could have or if it was violating, especially if the trustees arrived. So, you know, my answer came back pretty quick. You know, I can have meet and greets.
But I'm asking, were you informed by the village clerk that she filed such a letter with the state's attorney? Were you informed before that too, before last week?
I was informed that the question was asked to the state's attorney's office.
So therefore you knew of the letter?
I didn't know the actions of the state's attorney's office.
No, not the actions. I'm asking you, were you informed by the clerk that she filed such a letter?
I knew that the question was asked to the state's
But
attorney's office.
Okay, so therefore you knew ahead of time and you still kept coming to the town hall meeting. Okay.
So I think what you have to consider is, and I know that since we have IMO, there are so many sessions on Open Meeting Act that there was, it's called Robert's Rules of Order. So order of decorum. And there is an order for that. So
you didn't know?
I think with all the Open Meetings Act training that we have, I think there's, number one, there's rules that have changed every year. And that's why every year we go to IMO and we have the opportunity to go to those training sessions. So whenever a question comes up, we go to the state's attorney, what deals with the Open Meetings Act, and it goes to, we go to the attorney, or you go to the state's attorney's office. I think what you have to remember is, and the reason I say we wait for the state attorney's office to tell us if you're in violation of the Open Meetings Act is because Open Meeting Act, if it is considered Open Meeting Act, it doesn't matter if you had a quorum or if you didn't have a quorum. Because, again, we have to wait for the PAC
I
to come back.
But my question was, did you know she filed this letter before the letter came back? Did you know she filed it back in July?
I knew that the question was being asked if it fell under the Open
Then
Meetings
why
Act.
did you keep coming if there was a question? If there was a question about the form, as far as elected officials being there, why did you keep coming? Because I wasn't told about this. Why did you keep coming to it if you knew that there may be a problem with that? That's my question. If she filed it, because no one told me the letter was being filed, no one told me that there was any question about that my town hall meeting being part of an Open Meetings Act violation. But I'm asking you, and I've asked you 5 times, did you know that she filed this letter back in July? And if you did know that, why did you keep coming to the meeting knowing that it may be an Open Meetings Act violation? And that's all I ask.
First of all, I've responded every single time. And maybe I'll make it clearer and slower for you. I knew that the village clerk reached out to find out if it was considered an open meeting. So, again, I answered it every single time. Now, it's up to the PAC and it's up to the Attorney General to come back and let us know if it's considered open meeting. Just because you have a quorum, or if you don't have a quorum, they both could be in violation of Open Meeting Act. Because if it's considered an open meeting, under the Open Meeting Act, it doesn't matter if you have a quorum or if you don't have a quorum. Because if you didn't have a quorum, you weren't supposed to have a meeting. If you had a quorum, you should make sure that everything was posted.
But
and
the town hall meeting is not an Open Meetings Act violation. It's a bunch of citizens getting together, discussing what they like or don't like about what's going on in the village. It's not business. We're not conducting
You
business.
did get your handouts from the Open Meeting Act, right?
I know the violations of Open Meetings Act. That was not one of them.
I think you better go back and
No, it's not. I'll have to go back. I know the rule. And also, I just dialed City Hall. It does say exactly what he said as far as being closed on Wednesday. I just dialed.
Trustee Orchard.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say that, I heard Trustee Burgess say my name, and that because of me, the clerk called downtown, or
That's what she told me.
because I asked in the minutes. See, I asked in the
No,
minutes,
it's stated in the minutes.
in the minutes when we were sitting out there and down here. If I asked that, first of all, I asked it because I was told when I started a community organization, Sauk Village for Informative Dialogue, I could not have meetings in the retirement. I could not have meetings in the village hall. So I asked, why can Trustee Burgess have meetings in town hall meetings in the village hall, but I have to go to the community center? At no time did I ask the clerk or anybody else a legal question that needed them to send documentation to the state's attorney. I'm asking because I'm a new trustee and I just want to know why one trustee can do something, another trustee cannot do it. I wanted to know for my own self. And number two, as far as me coming to the meeting, making it be too many trustees for Open Meetings Act, when I had my Sauk Village for Informative Dialogue meeting at the community center, Trustee Burgess came because I asked him to. The mayor came because I asked him to, and I had the entire board to come and to talk to residents about questions that I had set up a panel to answer. So I said to Trustee Burgess and the mayor, this is the same thing that I was doing, but it's just like a town hall meeting. So I may say I asked questions, but at no time never use me or blame me for somebody being foiled or having repercussions because they're trying to communicate with residents that want to ask questions in a different setting. I'm asking because I just want to know.
But again, there was two issues to the act that was brought up. One was filed against the Housing Commission, or Housing Authority, asking about their open meetings, and if they were a violation, and then there was one that was filed against the meetings that Trustee Burgess was having. I don't know if it's something really to get upset about. It's something that we have to provide the information. The state's attorney or attorney general will come back and tell us if there's any violations. So, I mean, as a village, we will work with providing all the information you request. And that's all, and there's no reason to be upset, Trustee.
No, I'm not upset. I'm just
So,
saying if it was a
there was
violation.
a question that was asked.
If it was a violation, first of all, it's not against me, per se, it's against the board. Yes, it is, it's against the board. Anyone that was there, that's what it is, against the board. It's not, I can't have a violation with just one person.
Right.
It has to be the board or a quorum of the board. I read that. So it has to be, and that's why I keep asking you, if you thought there might be a problem back in July, why did you come to August, September's meeting?
Again, Trustee, there has not been a decision by the Attorney General, there has not been a decision by the PAC, if your meeting was
I hope
considered
you guys stay
open.
open and transparent, because this is the first time that I've heard it. And that's what I even asked the clerk, why weren't I given, at least let me know that something like that was being filed against my meeting. Why did I have to wait until the lawyer handed it to me at the meeting, at that time, that they had actually got an answer from the Attorney General? Why couldn't I be told that there was something sent to the Attorney General by our clerk? Why she couldn't tell me that, I don't know, but we're supposed to be open and transparent. I don't see transparency.
I'm sure the Housing Commission is asking the same reason.
Well, I'm not the Housing Commission. I'm sitting right here asking this question right now of our clerk. Why she wasn't, at least give me the courtesy to say, hey, I'm filing this on behalf, or I'm asking questions. When I did ask, I'm asking questions to get clarification.
Didn't we say we were gonna look into it?
No, I want to know why I wasn't told about it
Okay,
prior to the
and you
board
know what,
meeting.
that might be a valid concern.
And that might be, that is
Okay,
3 months.
Okay, Trustee
3 months.
Wonderful. It's a valid concern. Regardless of the fact, isn't that what we do now? Attorney's Office. If there's a question, that's what we do. We talk about policing ourselves. We talk about people having the respect to do things. A cell phone went off and we just said people know better. We don't know better. That's the problem. Everything is going to everything. There's no consistency. We've never had a trustee say, I'm going to do a town hall meeting before. When Trustee Washington tried, I distinctly remember her being told, well, you can't do it here. You better find some place to do it, because you can't do it here. You can't do it in a village. You can't do it here. You can't, at the school board, she didn't bring it to the school board, I know you did, but I distinctly remember me telling her she could not do it. Now, I've never been to a single meeting that Trustee Washington has had, because I'm worried about the Open Meetings Act. Anytime you get more than 2 trustees in a place, you see me, I go. I have never been to one of your meetings, Trustee Burgess, because for the same reason. I don't want anybody ever saying Trustee Williams was anywhere. You see me on Tuesdays, you have a question, you ask me on Tuesdays. You might be able to catch me any other day of the week, but you ask me a question here when there is an open board meeting. So there's no, maybe Rosie did this, maybe Rosie did that. No, you're not going to get that from me. That's why I didn't go. But if there's a question, if there's a concern, I bring it back to black and white again. What's the problem with asking a question? What's the problem? Lots of people in this audience, lots of people on this board have asked lots of questions, have put lots of things to the state's attorney's office, have FOIA'd lots of things to answer questions. Some may be petty, some may be small, some may be really big. Doesn't matter. The fact of the matter remains that a trustee said, if you can, I want to. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. And it wasn't in this case. A question was asked. The village clerk went about the only means that we could do, took it to that way. If it comes back that it was not in violation, good. Good. You're right. Good for you. You were right all along. Perfect. If it comes back that it was in violation, then, as you stated before, it's not against Trustee Burgess. It's against this board. And even though I didn't go to a single meeting, I'm a part of this board, so I'm in violation. That's just what's going to happen. So we'll have to go from there. We learn from our mistakes. We pick up our toys, we go to a different sandbox. We do things differently. That's it.
But again, I think we're all getting worked up over something that we don't even know if there's a violation of the league, right?
I just asked why I wasn't informed, Mayor. I have no problem with why it happened or what happened. I'm asking why I was not informed that a letter went to the state's attorney's office with my name on a state that I may or may not have illegal meaning. Why I wasn't told back in July when that letter came. That's one thing I asked.
All right, let's go to the next one. Next.
Oh, you ready? Okay. Tammy Jones, and I just want to kind of briefly touch bases on your number 5 on the agenda, because it does affect me as a school board member. When you put this ordinance together, I'm asking that you, if you put it together or don't put it together, however you do it, put it in black and white, because I too am aware of, and I'll say, the gentleperson's agreement that you would not campaign or electioneer in your municipality. Thank you much. Which means me as a school board member would not go to the district office. I would not go to Rickover, Strasburg, Wagner. Those were off limits to me. Whereas Village Hall, I could have my signatures done, but not in the rotunda. So whatever you guys come up with, make it specific and make sure if it's going to include any elected official, that it states any elected official, so that we as board members, because I must confess, which is good for the soul, I was one of the ones with my petitions on Saturday when P.L.A.N was here and did not know I was violated. I follow the rules. I don't want to break your rules or the rules that we hold over in our district office. So please be specific in whatever it is you are requesting.
But let's make it clear, you weren't violating any rules.
Right.
Because there's no ordinances. So you're not violating anything. Kevin, how you doing?
Hey, Your Honor, how you doing? On a different topic, I bring greetings from the governor's office. I'm sorry. I bring greetings from the governor's office. It's come to my attention that Sauk Village, especially the churches and certain establishments in Sauk Village, have not or are not recognized statewide as far as things, and some of the meetings that I've been in with the governor and things like that, and the congressman. So we like to extend a specific invite. We've been working a lot trying to get towns' voices heard. So now we're having buses. Yesterday we had a bus pick up at Fairway Park 53 residents of Sauk Village to go and early vote. I've actually had my hand in getting people started, eight youth in Sauk Village starting to have jobs, working with Congresswoman Robin Kelly. There's also a concert that's being held for Governor Quinn on the 26th. Once again, transportation is being provided by us, and it will be picking up in the Fairway parking lot. Sauk Village needs to have its voice heard, so you guys get your things together, figure out whatever it is among your elected officials. You are more than invited and welcome to make sure that your voice is heard and meet with statewide officials and things like that.
Thank you very much. Sir?
Yeah, I agree with the people that said that you should have auditors on this election thing. But I would like to say that Sauk Village sometimes gets pretty ugly at these meetings. And if we had it, if the people that have already got the signature and things, if we do have that, then you should have it where they have to go back and have re-signatures because they did something different. I would like to say that where the sign is illegal at, you can put up a sign saying no political signs here until a certain date. Certain things can be, if you did that, and these areas, some people don't know where those, where they can't put up the sign. So you just put a sign up saying you can't put up signs here until a certain date, and after a certain date, then those people move. And that thing would be set there, all the time, so everybody would know it all the time.
Thank you very much. Ms. Griffin?
My name is Nathan Griffin, 22317 Brookwood. Mayor, I would like to ask, is it a violation for to have a meeting at Rickover School?
Is that your only question?
Say what?
Is that your only question? Do you have any other questions, or?
Okay, that's one. Okay, I'm sorry. Do you have to live in the village in order to work in the village? Do you and the police chief converse on the problems and the issues of the village for the safety of the people? And why do the village use rich construction to board up houses when we have public works? That's it.
All right, your question about having needs at Rickover. I can't tell you, I don't know. That's why we're waiting for a response from the Attorney General's office and from the PAC. And it's called the PAC. So I'm not going to tell you that I know the answer because I don't know the answer. Do you have to live in the village to work in Sauk Village? No, you do not. There's no requirements for residency. Talking to the police chief, I talk to the police chief probably 2 or 3 times a week. Talking about what's going on, what's happening. When residents come to me with issues, I'm taking those issues to the police chief, or again, it's not just police chief because I get issues about streetlights out, I'm calling Kevin. I get issues with the fire department, I'm calling fire chief. I get issues with the police department, I'm calling police chief. So we do have that communication. I have communication with all the department heads. So with Mohan, with finances, with Sherry when it comes to administration issues and zoning issues. We do have that. You talk about Rich Construction. Rich Construction is a company that comes in and does our boarding up of the houses. I think we did, I can't remember how long ago, but there was a bid out there. But Rich Construction it makes it where our public works employees are able to do something else rather than going and boarding up the house. So what we end up doing is we end up boarding up the house. Again, a lot of those houses are not village property. So we'll get those bills, we'll put liens on those properties, and hopefully one day we'll see those funds. But we try to keep the village employees, doing the village stuff, again, mowing the grass and trying to keep the trees trimmed and keeping water leaks down and replacing fire hydrants and street lights. So there's a lot of village stuff that needs to be done rather than going up and boarding up a house. So that's why Rich Construction does that. And we have a good price with Rich Construction because there's a price for if they do one house, if there's a price if they do 3 or more. So usually when we try to call them out, we try to get multiple houses so we can get a better price. I know the fire department uses them for fire calls. Again, that goes after the insurance company with a fire call, right, Chief? Trustee Mayor?
Basically, we have under application, we have a truck and fire, and we finish up and there's open one of the door. We have to secure that. Rich Construction is licensed bonded. Rich Construction is licensed bonded for the May 27th, and call them up. They're on scene within 45 minutes, and we can pretty much get the security property, and we get out of there within an hour or so. We have used other teams, Chicago, Harvey, out of Midlothian, out of Lansing, and 2 or 3 hours later, we're still sitting there waiting for them to secure the property. So we're obligated to secure the property. Rich, like I said, there's no reason. We can't use anything else, but we did put it out there for good a lot back. And we usually give them the call, police department gives them the call to send out. I usually let the police department send out to me for security property. So that's 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, I would like to get home too. So, but we need to be a licensed bonded company, whoever comes out. And at present time, they're the ones we're using, that's the one they send out to, they're licensed bonded. But we're using them through the Mavis 27. That's our Mavis, the fire district that we go through. Hope I answered it. After the meeting, I can explain a lot more in detail. But that's basically, we use them because they're on board with our Mavis district. But we use it, now the company is licensed bonded, and I have to talk to the mayor and the attorneys to see if we get them on board. I don't produce it.
All right, thank you.
Can I ask you, can you specify that, the first question that I asked you, I really didn't get the true meaning of the violation, because the reason I say that, you have came to the meeting, I seen you at the meeting. So I feel as though if something was wrong that Trustee Burgess was doing, why didn't you protest or say something to him?
Yeah. I'll respond to that during my portion, all right? But, you already had your time, so.
Mr. Mayor, Harry Wilkerson, resident of Sauk Village. First, I'd like to ask about the minutes that are posted on the website. I tried to print the minutes, and the most recent was in August. I know last week there were some votes for the minutes for several months, August 18th, September 16th, September 23rd, and September 23rd is listed twice. I'd like to know what's the maximum time frame for minutes to be posted, because if we're going to ask questions about it the following week or months to come, then we'd like to ask the questions before the issues are expired. Secondly, Mr. Mayor, you mentioned last week that Governor Quinn gave Sauk Village $4.8 million, and we were all ecstatic about that. However, then you said that it was going to pay off a loan. My question is, what processes went to make the decisions as to where those funds would go? And if the trustees had any involvement in helping to determine where those funds should go. And lastly, I'd like to also point out on number 5, so many people have spoken on it. But I'd like to say, back in August, the only meeting that I attended for various reasons, not because I didn't want to, but because I wasn't able to. But at that meeting, you were there, and I asked you, out of political ignorance for myself, I wanted to know why there weren't more trustees present, represented at the town hall meeting. And you shared with me at that time that it was an ordinance, and they would be in violation if there were more than 2 trustees there. So I understood that, and for it to come up last Tuesday, I was really shocked to hear the lawyer state that there was a violation or possible violation. And so all the conversation that we've had tonight has really enlightened that, and I think we should make sure that that doesn't show up as a violation. I know that it's on the state board now, but I think it is true that it should have gone to the mayor first before it went to a higher level, especially if there was a question about it. Thank you.
Let's talk about meeting minutes timeline. Usually when they come from the board, they vote on it. The mayor has a certain amount of time to get those signed. Once they get signed, they go back to the village clerk. She has to do all her documentation, and then they get turned over. So I don't know exactly what the time is, but again, I think I have something like 5 or more days to be able to sign them. I had the opportunity before the next regular board meeting, so really I think it's like 14 days that the mayor has to sign or veto and bring it back for the village board. And then the village clerk has to do all her documentation. So there's a little bit of time before they get posted on the website. Again, we try to move it through as soon as possible, because I don't think I've ever vetoed anything. So usually when I get them, I try to get them signed and get them back. So as for the 4.8 million, the governor's office made all the decisions. It didn't come through here. We knew exactly where it was going, where it was coming for. We've been working with the governor's office for months and months. And I'll be honest with you, Sauk Village does have a loan through the IUPA. That loan payment was approximately $260,000 a year for the next 20 years. That's a major burden on the village residents. It's a major burden on this board when trying to come across a budget. And the governor's office, when he gave us that money, of course we shared everything with him. The IEPA reviewed what the village residents could afford, what they couldn't afford, and even the IEPA, when she was here at the announcement, Lisa Bonet, I think her name was, from the IEPA, she even said it was too much of a burden for the village residents to make that payment every year. So working with the Clean Water Initiative, Jobs First, the Illinois EPA, the EPA, the governor's office, that $4.8 million came out of the governor's office, earmarked, not by anyone on this board, earmarked by the governor's office to pay that loan. So, again, that's why we had the board out there when the governor came showing the work that was being done already with permanent hair strippers. We had everything already prepared for everyone to realize what was happening. So, did the trustees have any involvement? No, not one of them. In fact, working with the governor's office, he told me, he goes, here's what you're getting, and I want you to want to make this announcement. And he put a lot of pressure on me because I had quite a few weeks before he even came out here where I couldn't say anything to any of these trustees. And it's because the governor made it very clear he wanted to be the one that made the announcement. He wanted to be the one that came out of Sauk Village. Nothing worse would have happened if I came back here and said something to someone, and next thing you know, it's all over Facebook. The governor probably would have said, well, I guess it must not be important to Sauk Village, so I'm not giving it to you. So I know how important something is, and did I keep it quiet? I kept it quiet. My wife didn't even know about it. The only time I said something was when LG Sims was sitting here for a town hall meeting about a week or so before the governor came out. And the only thing I said, for those that are in this room, will remember that LG Sims said that something big that may happen for Sauk Village. And the only thing I said was, he's correct, something big is about to happen. In fact, I have a hard time sleeping at night. And keep an eye out because it's coming. That's the only thing I said. So, there's other things happening too, I'm not gonna lie to you. We are working with our state reps weekly. And there's things that this village board won't know until it happens. And again, it's important that there's just certain things that don't get out there until the last minute. Because it's important getting that information, that it doesn't get blabbered all over Facebook or someone's Twitter or anything like that. Because that is what jeopardizes our relationship with our state representatives. When they go through and pass the bills and do all the work to get that money for us, they want to be the ones that tell the people. They don't want someone else coming out and telling it before they get to come out and give us the good news. So, and again, I know where my leaks are, and I could probably go around and say, I can tell certain trustees, and I can tell certain employees, and I know it will never get leaked. But it's not right. If I'm not going to tell one, I'm not going to tell anyone. So, it's the best way to do it. So I can't have someone sit there and say, well, the mayor told this trustee, and this trustee didn't tell me. Well, I didn't tell any of the trustees. And none of the trustees had anything to do with it. So, all right, next.
Judy asked, you know, Mayor, over time, you and I have had conversations on a variety of things, and never once did I feel that you were being insincere or dishonest. And I listened tonight to a lot of political running around the bush. I have to agree with Trustee Burgess, and the question was not answered, and maybe it was because he did not ask the question close enough. The question should have been, were you aware that the village clerk filed a complaint? The fact that there was a question, the question is answered. I called the state's attorney's office. I talked to the state's attorney. They answered my question. I could come and talk with you and tell you what they said. That would have been appropriate. That would have been, you have got to get this under control. We have a problem. But that wasn't done. There was a complaint filed. And that complaint is not just Derek Burgess. That's for any of the village government that was at the meeting in question. So, I will ask the question. Were you aware that the village clerk filed a complaint back in July or August? Secondly, I'm tired. I'm really tired of the questions and the rhetoric as far as the plan group goes. Every time I get up and speak at the town hall meeting, I have to say, I am Judy Cast. I am not here for the plan group. I'm here for me. I've done that here also. And I'm tired of the people that are generating the stupidity that the plan group is going political. We have never endorsed you or any other trustee or mayor. We have never done that. So perhaps somebody could let Mr. Schenkel and all his friends know we're not into that. And we need to know, I need to know, if you were aware that the clerk filed a complaint in July or August, and if so, why wasn't Mr. Burgess told? That could have been, all this could have been averted. And it isn't everybody getting upset because a question was asked. There was more than a question. There was a complaint filed.
All right.
One more.
Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor.
I'll answer.
Oh, you got to answer.
Go ahead, I'll answer.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. You've been waiting all that time. Okay. I can tell you, again, I knew that the question was asked to the Attorney General's office. Now, the Attorney General's office, there has been, 3 or 4 town hall meetings since the question was asked. And there was never an answer given. So, to be able to tell someone you can have something, you can't have something, didn't have an answer. So I knew the question was asked, that is it in violation? And I think all this time, the clerk has been waiting for an answer. We received our answer last Tuesday with the Attorney General coming back with a letter saying that there's a complaint filed, I can't remember the exact wording, for the town hall meetings that were held by Trustee Burgess, and they're asking for information about those town hall meetings. I think the majority of the questions they're asking is meant to be provided by Trustee Burgess since it was town hall meetings. But the village will work on providing whatever information we can provide to the Attorney General. Okay? I don't know if I can make it any clearer. I mean, I did not file a complaint. I didn't direct anyone to file a complaint. Again, we were all at the same meeting. So we know there's discussion. I remember the conversation saying, why can Trustee Burgess have one and I can't have one? And then again, the village clerk took the next step further and asked the question. So with that, but again, remember, last Tuesday night, there's 2 complaints filed, and I'm only hearing people upset about one. There was a complaint filed against the Housing Authority about an Opens Meeting Act. I don't see anyone getting up and saying anything about that one. But everyone's upset because the village clerk asked a question. Again, what do we do? Do we continue having town hall meetings and then wait and find out, oh yeah, you are in violation by the time we have 10 of them? Again, because the Attorney General is so slow in answering, just now getting a response. The trustee knew on Tuesday, I think you had everyone on Wednesday. So, if he's in violation, he's in violation. I don't know. If he isn't, he isn't, which I mean, honestly, I hope he's not. But he knew before he had his 4th one that it was in question. So, again, I don't hear anyone asking about the other one as well. And you know what? That's the same thing. Open Meeting Act violation. Everyone's concerned about this one. That just makes me wonder why. So, next.
Hi, Charles Pondex, 832 Mary Burn Drive. I'm also the president of the Deer Creek Homeowners Association and the mayor, the board, and the Public Works Department. I'd like to thank you guys for coming out and placing the lights that we had out at our entrance at Deer Creek. It's a very dangerous intersection there. Even being a resident for 19 years, I found myself driving right by the entrance at Deer Creek. So I'd like to thank you guys for preparing that.
I'd like to say thank you to the Public Works Department, because that was a little bit of work on that one.
Oh, yes, it was.
So they got it done, so they worked hard. So.
Well, thanks again.
And thank you for bringing it to our attention, because that's what it takes. It takes residents like you to bring issues like this to our attention, so we can do that.
I think you guys are preparing it also. I didn't watch the other, both hands watch your face.
There you go. Thank you.
A pet pouch, Sauk Village. I'd like to thank our mayor for having the kind of relationship with the governor for all the things that the governor is doing to try to help Sauk Village get out of our hole that we're in, because that $260,000 would definitely be a burden on this entire town. That's number one. Thank you again, Mayor, for that. On this town hall meeting thing, was it a complaint filed or was it for clarification, which our clerk did say last week at the meeting? I asked for clarification. I did not hear she filed a complaint. There is a difference.
I sit back there and listen to a lot of things that they've been saying. What I don't understand about the board as trustees, when you get here on a Monday or something, when you get the package in your box, do you read it or do you not read it? Or do you wait till you come here to stand up in front of everybody trying to be this or that and act like that? You know, it's just so sad that, Mr. Mayor, that people can stand up here or go out there and put on Facebook, you don't do this, you don't do that. Well, you know what? If they walk down Sauk Trail and see the improvement, just walk down and see the improvement that you have done. Go and look and see it. Quit complaining of it. Or the same person that influenced these people to come and talk all this crazy talk on Facebook, why don't he stand here and tell you, Mr. Mayor, how to stand back there and put them up there. You know what? I mean, somebody needs a little puppet to dance, and that's what he uses. See, that's what he does. And he come in and said, well, y'all go there and say, oh, I know this and I know that. No, he does not. If he did, go where you pay your taxes that you don't pay them here. Yes. Yes.
Anyone else coming up? So we'll move to comments from trustees. Trustee Myers, I'll start with you, since you got the mic.
I'm not going to have any comments tonight. I'm echo what you're saying. I will not work.
All right, thank you. Trustee Williams. Trustee Washington. I was thinking about that question.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a few things. First of all, I just want to say that as far as number 5 is concerned, I have supported Trustee Burgess by coming to Rick over and he had his meeting at the Village Hall. Also, when you mayor had your leadership in the park, I came over on Carroll for the first one that you had over there. I participated in things that Parks and Rec did with the parade. I'm just a team player. I support people. I don't go to make it be a Open Meetings Act violation. I just go to support, to listen, and to show my face because people have reciprocated that same courtesy to me in my meetings. And I just appreciate them coming to support me, so I go to just show support. But I have a statement that I wanted to make in regard to it not being on the agenda tonight for cost-saving initiatives. I know that usually you put that on the meetings for tonight, cost-saving initiatives.
I knew it was going to be a fun meeting.
Oh, nevertheless, one of the cost-saving initiatives I was concerned about, and just wanted to throw out there, I know that we had got some documentation that the cleaning service no longer was going to clean the community center. They said it was too dirty, and they sent us pictures saying that they weren't going to clean it up anymore while the youth program was going on with Ms. Denson. So I'm just wondering who is cleaning up the community center? Is it being cleaned or the cleaning service, since they put it in writing that they were no longer going to clean that particular entity of the village? Did we cut back on how much we pay them since they're not cleaning the community center? And I have some feedback on that as a cost-saving initiative. Can we keep going?
Good.
Okay, number 2 is a cost-saving initiative. I know that Levels was closed, and I don't know what's going on with Wise Gas, but I know that we did make, it was said at one of the meetings that we were going to take the proceeds from those video gaming to pay for the fire and police pension, because I think they're a little behind or whatever's going on with the pensions. But if we keep closing them, how are we going to get money to pay for the police and the fire pensions? And I think that we should promote those businesses, although personally I'm not a person that consumes alcohol, but if that's one of the revenues that we're using to make sure that our police and fire pensions are being paid, there are enough people out of 10,000 residents in Sauk Village that do consume alcohol or would like to go into those kinds of establishments and play the games. Just play the games whether they consume alcohol or not, so that we can ensure we do have a constant flow of money coming in all of the businesses. I did not know that Excellent was closed. I heard about it in the community. I made a phone call to the mayor. I made a phone call to Trustee Burgess. I made a phone call to the clerk. I'm like, Excellent is closed. And then when I drove by, I actually saw altercation going on in the parking lot. And I was like, oh my goodness. witness. So we don't have a village manager, and I have expressed that continuously. My final rhetorical statement is, how do we as elected officials get information disseminated to us? Look like we have to depend on the residents. I didn't know the levels was closed, if their license was suspended. I didn't know any of that. I hear it on the street, or I get a phone call from a resident, or I do hear someone say, I'm gonna send you something to your phone that I read on Facebook about Sauk Village from other municipalities around us. So I don't know if there is an answer. I don't know if anyone is responsible to let us know what's going on when establishments close like that. But it looked like we're just at the back door and totally out of pocket with it, because if we close I know that they commit violations and they have to be closed. But if we can't pay the police and fire pensions, we decided, when you make the decision to pay them from the video gaming, now we have 3 stores that have it: Hometown Hero, Wise Guys, and Levels. But if they're always closing, and if we don't push people to go in there and use them, who's going to be responsible to pay that fire and police pension if we don't get the money? So that concludes all of my statements. Thanks.
All right, first of all, cleaning service officer follow-up, found that is, the gaming machines, again, that's extra money that was not planned. That's why that money is being used to go in there. When Levels was closed, it's because of violations. They had to go before a hearing. They had that hearing. So, again, as mayor, my job is, number 1, to enforce the ordinances. Number 2, as liquor commissioner, to take any police reports from the police department and make decisions on charges that be filed. So there was charges filed, there was a hearing, and again, you're not part of the liquor commissioner, so that's probably why you didn't hear about it. But again, I kind of heard a lot of things tonight, but it kind of concerns me that do we overlook violations so we can keep businesses open so people can go their gaming machines? I didn't understand your statement about being able to get the money from the gaming machines, you know. So again, there's reasons that come before the liquor commission, and there's things that they have to follow. And when you're in violation, our job is to enforce the ordinance. So they are open back up again, and the ruling for that was they received a $500 fine, and they're on 6 months probation. So that was the final ruling on that one. So excellent. I heard some rumors and people are calling me when I know Sauk Village closed excellence down, but Sauk Village did not close excellence down. In fact, we tried working very hard with keeping excellence open. That was a landlord-tenant issue. That had nothing to do with the village of Sauk Village until, like you said, there was some issues between the landlord and tenant, and the police department were called. So that's about the only time Sauk Village was involved when the police department ended up getting called because of the issues that they had between the tenant and landlord. So that's where we're at on there. Again, I don't know too much more about what a village manager would have done. You know, again, it'd be nice to have a village manager. If there's anyone here sitting around this table who would like to have a village manager in India, anyone would be me. But at the same time, you know, I have to look at the budget and what we have coming in and what we can afford. So to get a village manager so the trustees can think they can get more information, that's not money well spent. Now, if we can get a village manager and they can pay for themselves, they can bring in more grants, they can provide the trustees more information, that is acceptable. But the village doesn't have money right now to get a village manager. And again, it's something that we're constantly looking at, I'll be honest with you, because, you know, I could use someone. I'm working day and night for this village. And do I enjoy it? I do. You know, I think I'm crazy because I enjoy what I'm doing. I enjoy serving this village. I find myself, you know, on conference calls constantly calling people, you know, meeting with people. You know, we had a meeting last Tuesday night with some residents talking about issues in Sauk Village. You know, I come straight home from work most of the time and come straight here. So if we had a village manager, then there'd be a lot less time than I'm doing stuff. I could pass off stuff to the village manager, they could be making the calls, they could be reaching out, they could be meeting with village residents. But you know, I enjoy doing it, so, but I'll be honest with you, we'll continue looking at the issue of the village manager. But it will, if the village gets one, it'd be because the village can afford it, or there's funds available for a village manager. And we'll definitely look at what their job description will be and what will consist of. So, all right. Trustee Morton.
Community center.
Just a couple of things here. Just one thing I want to stress is that the trustees and the employees of the municipality should really go through and look at the ethics ordinance. Like I stated earlier, what we're doing here for the ordinances is pretty much for the public and municipal officials as well. But right now, we are bounded by the ethics ordinance, so I encourage each elected official to look very carefully at this ordinance because this is in place. Something else I want to bring to the attention of the board. I no longer have a committee that I chair, and I have been giving information to the mayor, ideas that I have come up with, so me and Mr. Hayes are working together, put together something. But there are things that I do for the municipality that a lot of people are not aware of. The mayor has appointed me with consensus of the South Suburban mayors and managers. I actually sit on the Transportation Council, so things that pertain to a STEP grant or something pertaining to Illinois 394, the corridor, the airport, things that are affecting economic development in the South Suburban area, I am involved in and will continue with. I do come back and do give information to the mayor, and it's just something I enjoy. Hence, I've been in transportation since 1996. My profession, what I do is I drive a tractor trailer, and I actually was a terminal manager at one time as well. So that's an area of expertise that I have. And basically, I gather that information, I put my 2 cents in at those council meetings, and of course, I bring that information back to the mayor. Basically, that's what I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Foxen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just several announcements here. This Saturday, October 25th, will be our trunk or treat. The parade will start at 11:30 from Rickover, going down to the community center, where I hope to have several people who will volunteer to bring their cars and open their trunks, and we'll have some pumpkin raffles for the kids, stuff like that. And after we finish, down at the Church of God, they will also have their trunk or treat, which will run from 2 to 4, and they'll have several things to do down there as well. So we have an exciting day for the kids here, and doing it up sure to keep it going for a while. Okay, November 6th will be the next Parks and Rec meeting, community center at 6 o'clock. November 7th will be the next game night. That will start at 6 o'clock. That's the family game night. The 8th will be the craft show from 9 to 3 over at the community center. I'll be there probably about 8 o'clock for any of those who are here or sitting here who want to come and set up early. So we'll have table spaces laid out. We're already got about 10 people who will say they're coming, and these people come out and buy. So run out, save your money, spend your money, run out, see what they got. I've talked to Santa, and Santa says he will be here on December 6th at 10 o'clock to start our parade throughout town. Now, Santa has guaranteed me he'll be here, so we're all set to go on that. So,
Hope you're giving them plenty of milk and cookies so you can start pumping them up. Trustee Burgess.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to announce this coming Thursday here in the Village Hall from 9 to 1, CETA is hosting, well, I'm hosting for CETA a home energy bill payment assistance program. It is open to the seniors, disabled individuals, and households that have children 6 years and under. It'll be here at 9. I think we're gonna open the doors around 8 to give people a chance to come in because they take, as last year, they only take so many that they can process at a given time. So I'll be here at 8 o'clock, and it's from 9 to 1, it'll be right here. Second, the next thing, Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to know, can I get a copy of that grant that was given, or when we get the paperwork, I'd like to see a copy, because I too talked to the state rep when the governor was here, and he told me, and I asked him that specific question that was asked, do we have to pay the loan off? And he told me, no, it has to go for something that's Clean Water Initiative. It didn't have to, it wasn't earmarked to pay the loan off, so I just wanted to get a copy of that. I will follow up with that to find out, because when I talked to the state representative, the one that actually helped out getting that, yes, this is what he told me, because I asked him about that, and he said it does not have to go to pay the grant, to pay the loan off. It can't go to anything dealing with water, which would probably be our infrastructure. Since there was a lot talked about our town hall meeting in the village at the Rickover, I just have a couple of things to say, and this is coming from the heart. The people that attend that meeting are our taxpayers and residents. To my knowledge, if there's anybody here that can say any different, I really appreciate if they say it. But I do not talk about upcoming elections. I don't talk about who's running. I talk about village issues, and I talk about people's personal or private problems, or things that they have problems with. At one of the meetings, they talked about the police department. I took those concerns and talked to the chief about a lot of that. That's what they're for. There's no way in the world are we trying to conduct business. They ask questions about business that was already conducted. They give suggestions about things we should not do. I've had them out of Village Hall simply because a lot of people felt intimidated being here in Village Hall. They thought that, they're going to be recorded or retaliated against, or someone, if they ask a question, they're going to take their name down and there may be some retaliation. But I did not know that it could be a violation if I had it anywhere else. But what I want to do now, and until I can see a difference, and until someone can tell me or show me anything different, the next town hall meeting will be here at Village Hall. I will let the residents come out, and I'm just letting everyone know now, as far as being posted or whatever, come out and ask your questions. Come out and give your concerns. I hope that you can feel a little comfortable. You won't be harassed. Hopefully you won't be retaliated against. I can't promise that. But this is for the residents. This is what you pay your taxes for. You want answers, and you want people to help solve problems that you may not, or you may not be able to ask, or you may not feel that you've got your answers. So the next town hall meeting, I told the people at the last town hall meeting, I will let them know where the next location would be. The next location is going to be here, and it'll be on the 19th of November, the week before Thanksgiving, right here, same time, 7 to 8:30. Now I'm asking that now. I'm going to get in touch with the clerk and anyone else that I have to do about getting the room. I'm hoping that all of a sudden, I'm not given that opportunity to do that for whatever reason it may be, but I'm putting it on the record now that I would like to have it, because a lot of people come out, and there was a lot of concern about that. And this is what it's for. I know we have a board meeting every Tuesday, but a lot of times people don't feel comfortable asking questions, because they've even said that a lot of times that they felt that they couldn't ask questions. A lot of people report things out in the street. They will report it anonymously for a reason. They don't want to be retaliated against. So the next one will be here, then after that we're going to move it out to somewhere else. And I just wanted to, let people know this is your village. This is where you pay taxes, you pay our services, you pay for your services, and you pay for this board to have their meetings. We don't get paid a lot, but what we do get paid comes from taxpayers' dollars, and we should be able to at least give back. and discuss. And also, trustee Pascal, I will be there 11:30, you said?
That's for the parade.
Okay, what time is the trunk and
We'll
treat?
be over here at the community center for this parade.
So 11:30 is fine? Okay, thank you.
Trustee Reed.
Just a couple of comments. I know that we've kind of talked about a lot of things tonight. It got to a couple points this evening where I had some 2009 flashbacks. So I'm just asking if we could all kind of just remain calm. Every time there's about to be an election, things like this happen. It's all this going back and forth. It's really, it's not that necessary. I promise you it's not this necessary. Anybody in the audience who's running for the board, good, congratulations. Anybody up here, good, congratulations. But especially the people up here, you know, it is not milk and cookies, it is not peaches and cream, it is people yelling at you and people getting mad at you. And so just know what you're in for. If you're in the audience, seriously, know what you're in for. Because that's what's going to happen. And you know, Trustee Burgess, last week you said something when it was presented to you about the letter, and I wanted to say that I didn't tell you that night, but I agree with what you said. For about 10 minutes after the letter, you mumbled. You don't mumble very well because I heard you from my but you mumbled. If somebody's reporting me, I must be doing something right. I must be doing something right, and that's a good way to look at it. Because you know what? For almost 10 years, people have talked about me, so I must be doing something right. So that I think is what we should think. If people have questions, if people have concerns, let's look at it that way. We're doing something right, stick with that and go from there. Because this question of whether what's going on and feeling retaliated against and blah, 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 people are telling us that they're doing it because they have questions. Let's just go with that. I don't want this board. In my opinion, I feel like we've been a good board. We've been cohesive. We've had some concerns. We've moved over. I really don't want a flashback. I don't want the, and I'm going to put them on record, I don't want the trustee Bensons of the world. I don't want the infighting. I don't want that type of situation. If we are all elected officials and we are all adults, we should be able to come to an agreement about some things. We had the flashbacks, like I said before, with the outrage in the audience and the cackling and the hoot and the hollering and the cell phones going off, and we should be able to conduct business, and that's what I want to go back to. I don't think that just because an election is 6-7 months away, that now we need to forget who we've been for the past 18 months. So that's my only question to the board. Like I said, I don't have a dog in this fight. I'm sitting up here for another 3 years, and I don't have to run in April. So so maybe I can look at it as an outsider when I'm seeing this, but I can already see the beginnings of the problems, and you did this, and I did this, and we should do this, and we should do that. Let's be better. That's all I ask you as a village, as audience members, as people who are running, as board members, whether you're running or you're staying, can we pledge to do better? Can we be the board that we were and have been for 18 months? That's my plea.
All right. Yeah, really, it's on. Okay, we had some good discussion tonight. I think there's good debate, and that's what these committee meetings are for. They're for active dialogue. And I think we saw tonight trustees that had some good comments. They had some other comments. But again, we saw dialogue tonight going back and forth. And again, I don't think we need too much got out in tonight. I think what we see tonight is we see trustees who are passionate about what they believe. And I think the board did a good job tonight. It's 9 o'clock. I just got a few things I want to do with the closing. Is I talked about the Mr. Griffin asked a question about Open Meeting Act. And if there's a violation. Again, I can't tell you if there's a violation or not. That has to come from the Attorney General. Now, a question on, that I attended the meetings. Well, yeah, I attended the meetings. But you have to remember, there's a lot of things that are involved. If the PAC decides that the town hall meeting falls under the Opens Meeting Act, just because you have a quorum doesn't mean that's the only reason you're in violation. If it's considered open meetings act and you didn't have a quorum and you still held that meeting, you're still in violation. So just to say, okay, you had a quorum or you didn't have a quorum, there's other things. There's other things that's involved, you know, agendas and postings and where things are posted and part of those discussions, what they really consisted of. Did those meetings consist of talking about village business? You know, again, the Opens Meeting Act changes every year. That's why IML, the conferences are so important for trustees to attend. Because this year there were so many changes to the Opens Meeting Act, there was 2 separate meetings that were held to discuss Open Meetings Act changes. Now, it's getting to be a point where if you're an elected official, you better make sure you have a lawyer degree behind you so you can understand what you can do and what you can't do. And I'm telling you, anyone that says they know the Opens Meeting Act and they know what they can do, I'll tell you what, you must be a better person than I am. Because I'll tell you what, there's so many changes, I still have questions. And I sit up here as being probably the longest one sitting on the board. So, we need to be careful about how we're, you know, we saw arrogance under the last administration. We don't need to see it here. You know, and again, this board needs to be very careful. And I know the trustee plans on having another town hall meeting. Well, I can tell you that we're going to wait and see what the Attorney General says. And if it is considered an open meeting, then that meeting won't be held. Okay? So, and it's coming from the mayor, I'm telling you right now. If it's not considered an open meeting, I encourage everyone to come out to it the week before Thanksgiving. But, and I make it very clear, we are working with the Attorney General's office, and we will continue to work with the Attorney General's office. We will give them whatever information we have, and try to get this worked out. So that when it comes to the Open Meeting Act, comes to $4.8 million. I know a trustee said he talked to a state rep. I tell you what, I encourage you to read the press statement from the IEPA. The IEPA's press statement made very clear what that money's being used for. You don't have to read between the lines. So the IEPA and you were dealing with the governor's office. So the money came from the governor's office, didn't come from the state representative's office. And when they give you money and say this is what you're using that money for, that's what we're going to use it for. If you want to argue with the governor, give him a call. All right? So, again, it gets me about how people want to say we want to use this money for something else. I think we have to be thankful that the governor gave us the $4.8 million. I think this board needs to be thankful that we're not having to pay over $260,000 a year to make a payment back to our bank. Anyone who wants to take additional funds that's made to pay off that loan and use it for something else, I think you maybe should look at your financial sound, because there's a lot that needs to be taken care of. And again, I'm not going to tell the governor that I'm going to use the money that he told me where it's going to go for, what's it going to be used for. I'm not going to tell him, well, no, I'm going to use it for something else, because I talked to someone else. So, the other thing is, there's a small business development center is having a veterans, let's see here, a program proud to offer veterans military personnel for those leaving the service our country. They're looking for jobs. They're having a thing on November 13, 2014 from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's going to be held at Governor State University. It's free to veterans, $40 to non-veterans. They've got keynote speakers, they've got speed network sessions, business plans, financial panels, buying a business, and there's a whole entire list of things. So if you want to attend, especially if you know any veterans, this is to help our veterans. On October 23rd, LG Sims is having a senior health fair, and a couple of these are on the back table. So on the 23rd, that's from 9:30 to 2. That's over at Thule Park at 501 East 90th Place, Chicago, Illinois. LG Sims is also having things on the back table, get ready for college. Saturday, October 25th from 10 to 1. That's being held at Butler College. So if you know any young people getting ready to go to college, show them like this. Early voting, I think it's already been mentioned. It's on the back table. It talks about places where you can early vote. We want to make sure we encourage our residents to get out and early vote. Election is a very important election. I already told the board, in fact, my times got changed. I'll be down in Springfield on Friday, also still Thursday. But the times got changed, so I'll be in Springfield on Friday. And I think their presentation for the Illinois Department of Natural Resources, we are working on getting a $200,000 grant for Arrow Park. And we've pretty much got the presentation just about complete. But to tell you how important this is, it makes it very clear that if I'm not there, we're not eligible for the grant. So that's why I'm taking a vacation day for the village, so that we can go out down to Springfield and hopefully get this. Enbridge, they also get this posted up there outside. They've got a poster from Enbridge talking about pipeline safety. So if you're coming through the village hall portion, look for this out there. Things what to do, how to know what to respond when it comes to pipelines. So that said, let's see here. We've got the enterprise zone. We all approved the enterprise zone. I put the village up. Keep your calendars marked for November the 3rd. I'll know for sure sometime this week. But Sauk Village is one of the areas that will host. I put us in for hosting the enterprise zone public hearing. And if we're accepted, of course there's other communities that are also doing it. It'll be November 3rd from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. And that will consist of multiple communities when it comes to the enterprise zone. We joined in with a group of communities consisting of Crete, South Chicago Heights, Sauk Village, Fort Heights, Olympia Fields, and I know I'm missing someone else. So our new enterprise zone title is now the Route 394/Route 30 corridor enterprise zone. So that's coming up. But if anyone wants to see what the IEPA newsletter is, news release, you can go to the mayor's Facebook page. You just go under Mayor Day Hanks, click on my cover, and there's a link that will take you directly. Once you click on that, take you a link directly to the IEPA and the newsletter talking about that $4.8 million that Sauk Village got. So if you get a chance, go out there and take a look at it. All right, with that said, that's your motion to adjourn. No. No, I said I didn't know the answer. I said I'd come back with you. That was first answer.
Mr. Mayor, do you know if there will be Boy Scouts are asking, is there going to be a Veterans Day celebration of any
That will be up to the board. I will not be in town that day.
Rose, do you know if there is going to be anything for the Veterans Day celebration like we usually have in the cemetery? Or anything?
I know the VFW is not in existence.
Maybe if you can reach out and see what you can figure out. I think we should do something. I just feel better than going to be out of town that day. All right. With that said, that's the motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned.
But you wonder why I keep counting down.